Hey, and good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majeski back with you here on the Weather Nerds YouTube channel with your weather report update here on your Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. Sorry I couldn't get on here yesterday like I normally do. I had a little family issue I had to deal with. That family takes priority, and still dealing with it, but we're moving forward today. So got to give you an update, boy, because we got a lot to talk about on this update. We got to talk about, obviously, Melissa, your teaser there, as we're looking at a potential for a devastating hurricane to impact the island of Jamaica. Its course and trajectory will have an impact on the overall weather pattern across the U.S. once it does kick on out. We're going to talk about another coastal low potentially developing across the East Coast as well. We got some stormy conditions out on the West Coast. We just got a lot of stuff going on here to wrap up the month of October. Now, before we get into all this report, if you are new here to the channel, let me introduce myself. I'm meteorologist Greg Majeski. I kind of like to give you a no-nonsense weather approach. In other words, I do not treat every storm as the storm of the century, and I don't try to scare the bejesus out of you. We just try to give you the weather facts. You guys make informed decisions, keep your families safe, staying prepared, and not scared. That is our motto here on the channel. And if you can come on board and give us a subscribe, I would appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, let's talk about yesterday. We had our highs and lows extremes. Hidalgo, Texas at 97 and Burnham, Montana at 13. Those were our extremes across the country yesterday. And we're going to be watching here for today is kind of our weather maker here is going to be this system right here. That's this upper level low that's going to be kicking on out into Texas. So we're going to be looking at several days of some severe weather we're going to watch here from Texas, shifting into Louisiana in the days ahead. We're going to break that down for you day by day from the Storm Prediction Center there. And then, of course, we got to watch what goes on out in the tropics. So let's go take a look here at the surface map. Let's get this on over here and get out of studio mode here. There we go. And you kind of see what's going on. It is chilly across the southeast. Got our first freezes for some folks here down across the south. I know up in North Georgia, for example, Blairsville hit 32 this morning. So a lot of frost settling in across the eastern third of the United States as these colder temperatures are moving in. And it looks like they get progressively colder, too, as we go ahead. Pretty good storm system out here on the West Coast coming in from Washington State down into Northern California, coming on through there. Little weak disturbance here, little one across the Great Lakes as well. Some rains across New York State. And again, we're going to be watching this energy out of the southwest kicking on out in Texas. That's what's going to be some active weather there going into later today. Watches and warnings right now. The main thing is just the cold weather. That's what we got out here. A lot of these freeze warnings out here, but nothing other than that here for this morning. And as we look at the latest on Melissa, still trying to get its act together. There were a lot of social media posts yesterday showing this storm really blowing up. I saw one that was going down 900 millibars, Category 5, really going crazy. We really don't know just yet, but I will say this. Hurricane Wilma formed in this similar area in the Western Caribbean back in 2005, and it got down to 882 millibars. It is the lowest pressure storm that recorded in there. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mentioned this a couple days ago that I thought this system had the potential to become a monster storm. And there were several reasons for that. The water temperatures are pretty warm, and you've also got, and if the environment got right, we got the wind shear to kind of lessen above it, which it looked like it's going to do that, then we would have a significant strengthening of the system. And then that's what's in the cards officially from the Hurricane Center. So as we look at the track, look how slow this thing's moving. It's moving northwest at 5. All right, now they do have the tropical storm warnings up now, and hurricane watches up for the island of Jamaica right now. And when it gets off the coast here, right now it's forecasted to go to 130 mile per hour winds up near Cat 4. So it could be stronger than that, potentially. It really could. And it gets that close to the island. What's going to be devastating is the fact it's moving so slow. So widespread flooding, landslides, things like that, the mountainous areas could be a big problem there. Obviously, storm surge continuing along the coast there. Down near Kingman, that could be a problem for a while. So Jamaica, right now, it's all hands on deck. They're getting everything prepared there. And then the storm is going to get picked up eventually. And when it does, it's going to take off. It's going to take off across Cuba and really kind of make its way up the eastern seaboard. So we have to watch exactly how this thing progresses. Here's how it looks right now. It doesn't look all that impressive on the satellite imagery as from the wider perspective there that you just saw. Kind of give you an idea where it's at in relation to the United States. We are going to be waiting for that big trough to come off. Once we get that big trough to come on off the eastern seaboard, then we're going to see this thing get picked out and head on out to sea. So here's the current ensemble model right now. As you can kind of see that thing just sitting there, waiting to get picked up, and then it just takes off. It'll take off once it gets into that area there, and goes in there. I'm going to go ahead and reset my pin if you don't mind me for a second. My pin, for some dumb reason, I haven't figured this out why it's doing this, but it keeps shutting down on me, and I'm not sure why it's doing that. So I use it for a little while, and it goes down. I'm not sure. I did just renew it just recently, so bear with me for a second while I go ahead and get this back up, because I do like to draw on things with you guys. So just give me 1 second to get this up. That's what happens when you do this thing live, you know. Got to do it one way or the other. Yeah. So here we go. Get it up. There we go. All right. So let's get this thing going. So anyway, you see what it's doing. It's getting picked up. It's getting taken on out to sea and across, and it's going to be a big storm. It really is. So this thing's going to race right on out, and again, kind of move out into the Atlantic. But at least the southeast is not looking like it's going to get impacted there. There'll be some rough surf though along that eastern seaboard. So watch out for that. That's going to be a problem there. All right, and the other problem I was telling you about was the sea surface temperature anomalies. Again, the water temperatures in here are very, very warm. They're very warm indeed in that area. So we'll continue to monitor that here as we go ahead. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the model data here, which we're going to be looking at the, well, first of all, we look at the thunderstorm risk here for today first. Let's look at that. And again, what we're looking at here is Texas is under the gun. It's your day one outlook. That green area, that's your marginal area. You see the yellow in here, that is your slight risk. Strong gusty winds are going to be your big thing here. Let's break it down by the category here. We do have a low tornado risk here for Lubbock, Wichita Falls, Lawton, as that upper level low kind of pulls on out into the southern plains. Obviously, the biggest risk is going to be the wind threat here. You kind of see there in the brown area, kind of a bigger area here from Oklahoma back over towards southern Colorado, New Mexico. Some strong gusty winds, 60, 70 mile per hour range, not out of the realm there. And you're going to have some hail with this as well. Obviously, the Lubbock, Wichita, Lawton area where that slight risk is running the higher risk for hail, again, running about 15% into those zones. Then as we go in toward tomorrow, go into your day two, that's going to shift a little bit further south. A lot of Texas here going to be under the gun here for slight risk severe weather. Even getting into Dallas, obviously getting into that. Austin, San Antonio on the fringe of this. Again, and we'll break this down by the category for tomorrow too as well. Again, tornado risk out here as well, running about 2%. Wind threat, again, bigger area there for tomorrow for wind threat. Covering a big part of that area. San Angelo's in that, Abilene, Midland, Killeen, all under the gun there. And then your day three hail threat here, again, running, or day two hail threat running there to Midland. All right, let's go talk about your day three outlook. This will begin a shift because the shift over toward Louisiana becomes marginal because Houston, San Antonio area, and that's your day three there. And then this will track along the south and bring some welcome rains into parts of Alabama, Georgia that need it from some drought conditions that have been a problem. All right, so let's go look at your model data here. Let's go and get that up real quick. Let's go look at the model data here. So here's our model data again. This is a 60-hour look. This is your NAM, or intermediate model, so taking us out here from Thursday, going us into Saturday. So we're going to be watching a lot of some heavy rains here across the middle of the country, some Texas kind of moving up in here this way. You kind of see that rain pulling up. This is the upper low, kind of pulling out of the Four Corners area. And we're going to watch the stormy conditions across Texas, Oklahoma. This area here could see some significant rains in here. There'll be some isolated flooding for sure in this zone. I'll show you those rainfall totals. Got another storm front here coming up across the west coast as well. There's a couple of them, 1, 2, coming in over the next couple of days. So we'll let this loop one more time, as you got two systems kind of coming on around top of each other's heels coming into the northwest. So here comes the first one here coming into your Friday morning, coming in from Washington State, Oregon, down toward California. And then there's another one right behind it. You got low pressure coming on in near Washington State. Some pretty good heavy rains on the west coast as well. Little weak system across the northeast. It's kind of pulling on out. South, it's looking pretty quiet, looking pretty good down there. All right. So again, that heavy rain threat. I mean, look at this. Very heavy rains here from Washington, up from Kansas down toward Oklahoma, Texas, and then of course the West Coast going to get some action there. And that's just the start, because it looks like a parade, atmospheric river that's going to be kind of plowing into those areas there across the areas of the Pacific Northwest. So they're going to get some pretty heavy rains up that way. All right, let's talk about the temperatures again. Not bad. Still dealing with some warm temperatures there in the high plains. And when I show you the Saturday temperatures here in a second, you'll understand. Still dealing with some mild weather there in the middle of the country. But the trend for the southeast is definitely looking cooler, especially going into next week. And we're still dealing with some seasonal weather above normal for a big part of the country. But you are seeing some chilly starts out there. I mean, you saw this morning, we had a lot of 30s out there. We had a lot of freezing. Look at all that blue there from this morning. Very, very chilly across the middle part of the country. And then we're going to warm things back up. So Afternoon highs, 50s, 60s. That's not bad. Still hot down in South Texas, though. So some 90s down that way for today. And then we should go toward tomorrow morning. We got some 30s here across Minnesota, down toward Indiana, into portions of Ohio. The Smoky seeing some 30s in there as well. Pretty chilly for tomorrow morning. And then afternoon highs on Friday. Again, not bad. Look at this. Got 60s up here into Montana. That's above normal for them, absolutely. And some 80s down here across Texas. Cool across the Great Lakes, 40s. Not bad. Got a lot of 40s, but it's low 50s here across the Great Lakes in the Northeast. And California staying in the 70s, so not bad. All right, let's talk about this weather pattern here, all right? All right. Looking at the 500 millibar. So we're tracking this system first. We're looking at this one right here. This is the first one. We're going to watch this one kind of come across the southeast. All right. And it's also going to tag team with some energy that's going to be diving out of the Pacific Northwest as well. So watch this. This tracks across the south. And we've got a very elongated trough kind of setting up in there. Look at this thing. Just very elongated. It's going to pick our hurricane up and take it on out. All right. But at the same time, we're going to get probably going to get another low pressure system to kind of form off the eastern seaboard here going into Wednesday next week. So this thing really dives, look at this energy, really transfers right to the coast. And you're going to be seeing another low pressure system, and it's going to yank this system right on out. So both these are going to go right on out together. And then in its wake, we're going to have a nice cool down on the back side of this. So this pulls on out. Boom, look at that big trough. I mean, just very amplified flow there. So we're going to have a nice big trough, big cool down there in the eastern third of the United States as we go toward November the 2nd there. So let me turn my timestamp back on again. So again, that's our time frame there over the next 10 days. So back this up one more time. Low transfers, big low there off the coast, picks up the hurricane, big drop off on the backside of that. That is logical. That is a natural progression on the weather pattern as it looks, and I'm still holding to that. So the Climate Center finally came around to what I was seeing for next week. I'm glad to see that too. So this pulls on out, and then it looks like we get to modify a little bit. Big warm up here in the east. It looks like beyond the 5th, we'll see a brief period of above normal temperatures. I really think this kind of pattern of these wild fluctuations is what I really anticipate for the fall and for the winter. I really do. I think it's going to be a very active jet stream, a weak polar vortex where we're just going to have these big, huge oscillations. It's going to make weather forecasting a challenge and fun, but that's what I suspect we're going to see going into the fall and into the winter. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. I got a 10-day loop here as we got things kind of looping on through here on the European model. Again, we're going to be tracking. We got that cold front on the west coast coming on in. We got the system here along the south. This energy here across the south is what's going to be setting up over here to get that new low pressure to form off the coast. So watch what happens as this thing goes forward. Kind of sits off there a little bit. Some energy gets left behind. Here comes that low forming there on Wednesday. And boy, does it get cranking. It's going to be very breezy across the eastern third of the United States. See all these lines of equal pressure? These are isobars. It's going to be very, very breezy across the eastern third of the United States as this goes by. It's going to pick that hurricane up and yank it on out with it. Just pulls it right on out. And then in its wake, we get a nice little cool down here. I mean, this is cool. This is your 540 freezing line here coming all the way down here. So nice little cold pocket there across the Midwest and coming into the southeast as we go toward the 1st and 2nd of the month. All right, so rainfall totals, 10-day totals here. West Coast, very heavy rains there from Oregon down to California. Some decent rains here, obviously from Kansas down toward Texas, Louisiana. Southeast, some needed rains here. Some pretty heavy rains across on the coastal areas, especially if that low gets going there off the Carolinas there. Kind of dry in the southwest. Intermountain really not that wet over the next 10 days. So again, going into Saturday, taking a quick look at your weekend forecast here. Saturday, look at these 70s up here in Montana against the Dakotas. It's been like a broken record when I've been doing these for the last month. Middle of the country just seeing above normal what they're supposed to be. That looks like that's going to continue. Morning lows going, your highs going into Sunday, still looking at some 60s, again, above normal here in the middle of the country. Cold in the Intermountain, kind of cool in the Northeast. South looking pretty mild for this upcoming weekend. Not bad. Look, it's still holding on the 90s for South Texas. Pretty hot down there. And then we're going to see, look at the cold here across the Northeast. Look at it. It's got a lot of 30s and cold here going into your Monday morning next week on the Monday. Cold out in the Intermountain region. And then your daytime highs on your Monday Again, you kind of got a wedge here coming down here. We got 50s for highs into Georgia. So we got a cooler wedge, got moisture going over the top. So we had a wedge there across the Carolinas and into the Northeast. Hot across Texas, mild in the middle of the country for your Monday next week. And then you're going into your Tuesday morning lows here. Again, cold in the Northeast, getting colder in the Intermountain region. Look at a big area there with some cold weather out toward the west there going into our Tuesday. And the Tuesday afternoon's highs, backed up to right about there. Again, still hot across Texas, relatively cool across the Northeast and Midwest. It's cool. I wouldn't call it. It's still above normal here across the plains. Still 50s up this way going into Tuesday. And then Wednesday morning lows, again, very cold out in the Intermountain West, the Northeast. And the high plains is still looking above normal. Again, we're supposed to be going into the end of October. They should be seeing more widespread 30s, even some 20s getting into this time of year, and they're just not seeing it. So still looking at those above normal temperatures. Now, I want to show you the climate outlook real quick as, again, they finally came around to what I was saying a couple days ago. I wasn't believing. They finally came on board here. So we got below normal temperatures there in the southeast, warm out into the west. We'll see that again, looking at that continues right through the 5th. Now, I do suspect after the 5th, if it goes as the pattern should shift, we'll see a big warm up there in the southeast going toward the middle of the month. So again, just looking at the natural progression of the weather pattern here, we'll see below normal to the 5th. And then beyond that, I think as we head toward like the 10th, I think we see things begin to warm up again across the eastern third of the United States. Precipitation-wise, some needed rain there across the eastern third, except for that dry weather out toward the west. You see that there with a lot of that tan color out there toward New Mexico and in toward Texas. And then we're looking at that kind of sitting there still, kind of expanding as we go from the 30th through the 5th. So again, looking at, it's going to be a real busy next week, guys. I tell you, it's going to be pretty intense here. And I got to figure out what's wrong with my telestrator. It's driving me crazy. I did renew it. I might have to remove it and download the software again and put it back on there because it's been really flaky here lately. Not sure what's been going on with it. So, hey, who we got out there today? We got Velva Plant. Good to see you there, Mick. Good to see you, Ryan. Good morning. Good to see you guys out there this morning. Again, I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Y'all get ready. It's going to be a crazy week, guys. We got severe weather. We got a hurricane that's going to be, pray for Jamaica, man. I hope the worst does not come true. I hope what was being passed around on social media yesterday doesn't come to, they were showing like a 900 millibar Cat 5 hurricane right near Jamaica. Let's pray we don't get that, okay? And again, this thing, the weather pattern is going to be pretty crazy here for the next week. And then it looks like it begins to settle down after the 5th. So, but looks like a crazy week ahead weather-wise to track. And I'll keep you guys informed and let you know what you need to know. All right, that's y'all's update for today. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe. And we'll see you tomorrow on the next report. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.